This time of year is obviously the best to see sign, trails, tracks, everything, and there's still a little bit of snow here, so that helps too. They're definitely digging at it now, and I don't know what took them so long. We're gonna grab the saw and then head over that ridge and get cutting. I would call today a overall success. It's early January here in Michigan, and season wrapped up on the 1st. Back up on the 70, and I really just wanted to get up here to take a walk around and just to learn. This time of year is obviously the best to see sign, trails, tracks, everything, and there's still a little bit of snow here, so that helps too. We're gonna start on the big bottom plot, kind of work our way out from there and just really see what we can learn today. I did bring the chainsaw with me too, so I'm gonna get started on some hinge cutting, and yeah, just looking forward to taking a walk through this place and see what's out here. So we just got to the big bottom plot, and they're definitely digging at it now, and I don't know what took them so long. Maybe we've had 3 or 4 days that have been pretty warm, so maybe they're back on the greens a little bit, but you can tell they're definitely using it now. So good to see. At least there's a bunch of tracks here, and we've had a handful on camera too, so at least they're using it now, just a little late. So we're gonna head south after the big bottom plot there. I haven't really walked this ridge substantially, but there's a spot up here where I'd potentially want to stand, and we did see a fair amount of deer using that throughout season 2 when we were sitting here. In particular, that one buck we saw, I think it was the following morning after opener, the one that we saw for just a quick glance, he had came from the east, worked this ridge through and headed west. So don't know what's up here, but we're gonna take a peek. So just a quick side note, I am gonna try making maple syrup out here later this spring. And there's a handful of maples in this area here that I think would produce pretty well. So looking forward to trying that. I've never done it before, but looking forward to giving that a go. We're walking the top of the ridge here, and this is a spot I kind of had marked just based on topography. And there's a good trail that runs from south to north down this ridge, and then there's an intersecting trail right here too. So kind of a spot where I wanted to put a stand, and I think this would be a pretty decent rut spot. So definitely gonna look to get something hung here this spring. So I think we found our stand tree. It's about 15 yards from that intersection, and it's a maple and it splits off, so we should be able to put it on the back tree and then have some good cover. The only thing is we'll have to get up pretty high because it does slope down just a little bit, but there's kind of a almost junkyard behind me, and any west wind should blow it right over that. And if we build access right from basically the spot where we were going to put the barn, we should be able to slide right in here from the back. And I don't know, I'm pretty excited about this spot. I think it'd be good during the rut. So we have not seen one bed on our entire walk so far, which is a little concerning. And one thing that's been really consistent in the comments is getting the chainsaw and getting to work on that. So we're definitely going to get a start on that today. Have a couple areas to pick out because obviously the bedding is lacking out here, and that's something that we definitely need to improve on. So looking forward to getting a start on that. So we're on the back third of the property to the west and just overlooking this spot here, and it's just so barren. There's not a lot here. There's a few pines, there's a couple maples here and there, but there's just not much. So if anyone has any ideas what to do up here, whether it be cover or food, I would love to hear your thoughts. So my only idea up here was to do white pines. I know somebody had mentioned it in a comment before. It's pretty open already, so I don't think it'd be that tricky to get a bunch of those in here. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 different beds in this little pine thicket here, which makes a lot of sense. I know everyone mentions thermal cover during the winter, so I understand why they'd be here, and they can overlook the whole bottom to the north, and I mean, they're definitely bedding up in here. So I'd like to get probably some more pines, especially in that area where it's wide open. So we just kicked up a bunch of deer a little ways east of us here, and it looks like they were on top of this same ridge that we're walking. And the common theme on both the east side and west side of this property has been how much the deer have been using the top of these ridges, whether it be just for traveling by the runs, and we've seen a bunch of beds on top of those too. So I'm interested to see once we get up to where those deer were bedded. I'm assuming they'll be on top of the ridge here, and obviously it gives them just such a good vantage point to look on both sides, and they can just see so much whether they're traveling or bedding them. So we'll see what that looks like up here. So I'm probably the most encouraged I've been on our walk so far. We're pretty much smack dab in the middle of the property, and we've seen, gosh, probably 10 to 15 beds along this whole ridge. We got one right here, another one, another one. So I'm gonna get back up here with the saw today and try and knock down a bunch of these trees just to make it a lot more appealing than what it already is. So yeah, looking forward to that, and I'm excited to see this, especially them bed in the middle of the property. All right, well, we're on the north side of the big bottom plot right here, headed to the north line, and this whole slope here is all south facing, so I'd love to get in here at some point too with the saw and go to town on this, because I think that would definitely help and hopefully concentrate the bedding a little bit closer to this food plot. We're gonna head north and then head back west. Just looking over this whole area here, as we're about 2/3 of the way back, it's just so wide open, and it's all south facing, which is great. So if I think we got the saw in here, did a bunch of cutting, we'd get some great regrowth and increase the stem count a lot, especially with all the sunlight it can get. There's some trails going on and off from the neighbor onto us, but definitely a place I want to get the saw in and get to work in here. We got to a portion of the property where I think it was probably, I don't know, my guess would be 10 to 15 years ago where this was cut. And there's a bunch of younger growth, a lot more trails running through here. So it's nice. I would guess a lot of deer are using this during season and then now again too, and probably at all points of the year. So nice to see it here. Doesn't need a lot of cutting in here. There's just some bigger beech trees and then some hard maples and whatnot, but nice to at least see a portion of the property looking like this. Well, we're on our way back to the truck. We're gonna grab the saw and then head over to that ridge and get cutting. All right, so we just got up to this first knoll where we said we were gonna start at. And my plan is to try and keep everything parallel to this main ridge to keep the travel going northwest, southeast, and then back and forth. So there's not a ton of timber value up here, so I'm not really worried about cutting anything I shouldn't. So I'm gonna get after it and see how much we can get done today. All right, we just wrapped up cutting on top of this ridge here, and I moved this camera from the south food plot, or the southwest food plot, up to here to see if these deer start using it. So another shout out to Ofa Tracks. This is his camera that he wanted us to use out here, and we're putting it to use right now. Just wrapped up cutting on the top of this ridge here, and that went well overall. Sam made a comment from the drone. It really looks like I hadn't cut that much, and I would agree with that. There's just a ton of cutting that needs to be done out here, but definitely made a good start and happy with what we got done today. In regards to walking the whole property, as a land broker, I walk a lot of these properties this time of year, and every time I'm out now, it's just so beneficial to get out when there's snow on the ground and when you can just see all the sign, tracks, old scrapes, everything, just so much better. So if you're thinking about getting out, walking your property, I highly recommend it. You can just see so much this time of year, and it's really beneficial, and I'm really glad we did it today. Saw some places that we had walked briefly before, but hadn't really spent a lot of time in, so I would call today a overall success. So there's a lot more projects we want to take care of out here, and as always, appreciate you guys following along. We're going to keep trying to pump these things out, and if you guys got recommendations or things you'd like to see, please let us know. Thanks again for following along, and we will see you on the next one.